Welcome to the DBMS class. I am going to uh, discuss about transaction management topic today. And before going into the detail about the same topic, I am supposed to tell you about the objective of my lecture and what is the outcome of my lecture. So, what is the objective of transaction management? You will learn how the transactions are getting executed in DBMS practically. So, what will be the outcome? You will learn how the transactions are performed, how there are various problems that, if encountered, you are supposed to handle the system in an efficient manner, because let's say there will be a natural disaster, that is system crash, or a flood, or a fire. So in that case, how you are supposed to handle the transactions practically. So I am going to discuss about the same today. So first of all, I am going to discuss about the basic properties of the transaction management, that is the ACID properties. Just have a look at those. So, what is the objective? To understand the concept of transaction practically. Outcomes, you will learn about the problems that a system confronts while executing the transactions. Now, what is the goal of the transaction management? To understand the basic properties of the transaction, so that you will understand the how the concurrent executions will take place in a particular system. So a transaction, what is a transaction? As the name implies, transaction, there will be number of steps that will be there in order to proceed with the transaction. Transaction mean to say any practical execution of a particular event. So, in order to proceed with the same, there are various steps or certain steps that will be associated with it, and it could range from the object to the object. Mean to say, what type of object, for what type of object you are doing the executions of the transaction. So this depends on the type of the underlying material for which you are performing the executions. So in any transaction, there could be two steps, there could be three steps, there could be four steps, or it might be possible that there is only one step. So it depends on the material, it depends on the content on which you are going to perform the transactions. Next is various properties of the transaction. What are the various properties of the transaction? The DBMS has to maintain the properties of the transaction, and these are called ACID properties in DBMS. What are ACID properties in DBMS? ACID mean to say atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. Now, what is atomicity? Atomicity mean to say either you are supposed to perform all the transactions at entirely, or you are not done with at all. It means if you are supposed to begin your transaction, then you are supposed to, it is a rule for you to complete all the process in that transactions completely. You are supposed to commit the transaction in the end. But it could not be the case that after first step you are saying that the transaction is committed. No, either you are supposed to perform all these steps, or you are not supposed to begin it at all. So this is the main concern of the atomicity. Now, how atomicity happens in the real sense? How atomicity is possible in the real sense? So I am going to tell you about the same. How atomicity is practically possible. So atomicity mean to say either all the operations of the transaction are reflected properly, or none are reflected. It means, for example, if TI is the transaction that transfer rupees 50 from account A to B, if TI is the transaction and if T2 is the transaction. Now TI is transferring rupees 20 or rupees 50 from account A to B. TI is the transaction. There is the account name, that is A, and there is account number B. from A account to B account, I am supposed to transfer rupees 50. Now, what will be the procedure? First is transaction schedule will be there. Now transaction schedule mean to say either it is serial schedule or non-serial schedule. I will discuss about the schedule in detail in the upcoming slides, but now I am just telling you about the transaction schedule. Now transaction schedule in layman language means you are supposed to complete the transactions in the sequence order. After first step there will be associated second step, and with second step there is the third step that is being associated. So this is the pattern of the transaction. This is the schedule of the transaction. Now in order to perform the schedule of the transaction in atomicity, that is I am going to transfer amount from A account to B, that is rupees 50. Now what will be the case? First the transaction A, that is the account A, read the account of the A in transaction. First read the account of the A, what amount it is holding, then A is equal to A minus 50. Now A is equal to A minus 50. Let's say A account is having 100 rupees in the account, and out of that 100 I am deducting 50 rupees from that, so it will be 50. Now write A mean to say 50 rupees will be written, 50 is left. If there is 1000, then 950 will be written. So in the same manner read B. So read B. Let's say B is having 2000 rupees already. So write B is equal to B plus 50, because I am supposed to transfer from A to B. So in A 50 are getting deducted, in B 50 are getting plus. So it will be 950 and it will be 2050. Obviously it will be 2050. So suppose prior to the execution of the transaction, TI values of the account A and B are 1000 and 2000 respectively. Now suppose during the execution of the transaction, TI power failure has occurred. Let's say the power failure has occurred. I am telling you about atomicity only. The power failure has occurred. That prevents the transaction TI to complete successfully. So the point of failure may be after the completion of the write operation in the A, but before writing the B. After the writing operation of A, writing operation A is written, it means rupees 50 are deducted and there are changes that are being reflected in the A account. But power system has occurred, power failure has occurred. So the account number B has to show me the rupees 2050. But power failure is occurred, so it is showing me only rupees 2000. Instead of showing me 2050, it is showing me 2000, and in A account it is showing the updated value, that is 950. So this is the case of the atomicity, that either you are supposed to perform the all the transaction before. If you are not entirely completing the transaction, there might be problem for you. Like this one, 50 rupees are deducted from A account, but they are not getting added to the B account. So in the same manner you will encounter problems. So next is consistency. So what does consistency means? Consistency mean to say a successful execution of the transaction must take a consistent database state to the new state. Consistent, there is a linking between first transaction and second transaction. Consistent database mean to say after A step I am performing B step, and after B step I am performing the C step. So continuously there is a flow of the exchange of information between two processes that are being taking place, and after first step stacking, second is about to happen, and after second step third is about to happen. This could not be the case that I am performing operations for the account A and in between I am starting the operations for the account B. So this, in this way, I could not say that my transactions are consistent or my data is consistent. No, either I has to be complete all the details of the A, then I am supposed to move to the to complete the details of the B. And this could not be the case that I am creating hustle and bustle between the transaction of account A and account B. So consistency in real sense means transaction must preserves the consistency of the database after the execution of the transaction. It means the sum of A and B must be unchanged after the transaction, and ensuring that this property is the responsibility of the user who codes the transaction. Because if the database is consistent before the execution of the transaction, then it must be consistent after the execution of the transaction. Next is isolation. So what does isolation means? Isolation mean to say a transaction must not make its modification visible to the other transaction. Because if I am updating account, anybody's account in a transaction, then it should not be visible until it is committed. Mean to say, after I have performing all the operations, read and write operations, and I am done with the updations, then it could be visible. But before committing, it could not be visible to the other transactions. Now, isolation mean to say, so what is the meaning of the isolation? Isolation mean to say if multiple transactions are taking place. If multiple transactions are taking place, then system guarantees that for each pair of transaction, TI and TJ, let's say two transactions are running concurrently, must be finished. So TI is supposed to finish the all the processes in the same, so that T2 could be initialized. As I told you earlier, if I am talking about the account A, I have to manage the account A so that it could not create disturbance in managing the account B. So, what will be the practical example of the isolation? It means if in TI I am performing the read operation, and read operation is A minus A50. A is having 1000 rupees and I am supposed to deduct 150 rupees. So I am deducting 50 rupees from this and writing A, that is 950. Then after that, I am starting the transaction second, because my first transaction is already completed. So next, read AA in T2. I am supposed to read A. Obviously, changes are reflected. 950 will be read. Then read B, 2000. B account is holding 2000 amount. Now display A plus B. Display A plus B, that is 2950 rupees. So then I am moving to the third part, that is in T1 transaction, that is 200 to read BB. Read BB mean to say 2000. Next is B is equal to B plus 50, that is 2050. Next is write BB, that is 2050. So in this way, after completing the process of first transaction, I am supposed to start the next transaction, and after completing this all the parts of second transaction, I am moving to the third transaction. So the consider the transaction which display sum of A and B, that is 2950. It displayed me 2950. Now, inconsistency occur. It shows sum 2950, but sum is 3000. Sum is actually 3000 because second concurrent transaction read A and B at the intermediate points and compute its sum, which results into the inconsistent value. Next is durability. Durability mean to say after the transaction completes, the changes it has made to the database persist even if there is the disaster. Let's say power failure is there or system failure is there. Ensuring durability is the responsibility of the component of the database system. So there are various states of the transaction. Um, acid properties are there, that is active state is there, partially committed state is there, failed state is there, committed state is there, and abort state is there. There are five types of states that will be there while you are performing a particular transaction. So what are those states? First is active. Active mean to say the initial state of the transaction, the transaction in which the system is being executed. Next is partially commit. Partial commit का meaning क्या होता है? After the final statement has been executed, partially commit. Failed mean to say when the normal execution can no longer proceed. Next is committed, after successful completion. Next is abort, that is after transaction has been rolled back. Abort mean to say the transaction has been rolled back and it has to restore to the previous state in which it was supposed to be complete the particular process, that is to the start of the transaction. Now abort is having two meanings, either to kill the transaction or to restart the transaction. Kill the transaction if there is internal error, restart if error occur due to the hardware of the software failure. Internal error mean to say that happens during the process of the execution. So there are various advantages of the concurrent execution of the transaction. First is improved throughput, next is reduced waiting time. So improved throughput mean to say average number of transactions completed in the given time, and next is reduced waiting time, because if number of transactions are operating parallelly, then waiting queue will be small. So next is so this is the practical example of the transactions, how the transactions are getting read and write. So model used for representing the database modifications of the transaction. First is read, then is write. Read account A and with the variable value X. Assign the value of the database object A to the variable X. Write X to the A. You are supposed to make the changes about X, about the amount X to the A. So this is the example that I told you earlier. Read, then X is equal to X minus 100. Let's say X is 1000. Write X A, obviously it will be 800. Next, read B, Y is equal to Y plus 100. Let's say Y is having 2000 value. 2000 plus 100, 2100 will be there. So the synchronization, what is the goal? The synchronization of transactions allowing concurrency instead of insisting on the strict serial transaction execution, because there could be serial transactions, there could be non-serial transactions that are taking place, because some transactions require to be operate in the serial order, but there might be the case that some people do not understand the underlying concept of the serialization, and it might be the case that they require to perform the non-serial operation. So there is a no strict rule that is being imposed while the transaction transaction is getting performed. So the first is the process complete T1, then T2, then T3. It will increase the throughput. As I told you earlier, what are the advantages of the concurrent transaction? Throughput of the system and minimize the response time, minimize the waiting time for each transaction. So this is the lowest update. Why it is called lowest update? Read a, okay, मैंने read कर लिया, that is a is 1000. Let's say I am taking example, a is holding value of 1000 and x is equal to x plus 200, that is it could be 1200, but they are not written. Now read a, what it is reading? Obviously 1000 instead of 1200. So read a, just reading a is 1200, and y is holding, let's say, value 2000, y is equal to y plus 100, that is also 2100. Here the result will be 2100, here the result will be 1200, but they are performing right operation here, and they are because after this they are supposed to perform this, and after this they are supposed to perform this. Now I am expecting here 1200, but what will be here? What will actual amount that could be written here? It could be only 1000, because after the formula that was being applied, it was shifted to the second transaction. So it is mandatory to perform the first transaction, then we are supposed to move to the second transaction. If the right operation has been performed earlier here in the third step, and then in the fourth step we were moving toward the second transaction, then there could not be a lost update. Now here is the, we have updated the we have lost the update. Why? Because before writing we are moving to the second transaction, and it will read the previous value, not the 1200. It is reading the value of the 1000. So in this way lowest update is getting performed. How the updations are getting lost? Because we are not doing the concurrent transactions, we are just creating a confliction between the two transactions that are being performed. After first transaction we are moving to the second transaction, that is we are manhandling the transactions. In the we can use the manhandle term here. We are not proceeding in accordance with the formula or the protocol that is supposed to be followed, but we are just manhandling it. So in order to protect the same, there will be locks. How lock work? Locks are in locks there will be privileges that will be given. Why we are giving the privilege to lock a particular transaction? So that it could be read, we can give the various rights. Either it could be read by various persons, either it could be write by various person, either there could be a provision for read and write for some persons. So there would be a locking criteria for the transactions, and there will be various rules in order to proceed with the locking system. So next is serializability. As I told you earlier, serial mean to say we are supposed to perform the transactions in a particular schedule, either in the ascending order, so that our transaction process goes smoothly. And there are two rules. There are two types of serializability. First is serials and must control concurrent execution of the transaction to ensure the read consistency, that is to avoid the dirty reads. What we have read here in the lowest update, dirty reads is there. Why? Before updating we are moving to the second transaction and we are reading dirty read, that is 1000 instead of 1200. So that is why it is dirty read. Next is a possible concurrent transaction or the schedule is serializable if it is equivalent to a serial schedule S, that is S has the same result database state as the S. Because we if we are supposed to perform the transactions, I am performing my banking transactions. Okay. Now I know what is my balance. Okay. What will be the output after the transaction? That is already known to me. That is already known to me. But how the banking is handling my transaction, that is up to their operations, how they are handling it, how they are performing the operations. But the end user, I already know that if I am going to deposit, if there is a 1 lakh in my account and I am going to deposit rupees 5,000, then there will be my account balance will be 1 lakh and 5,000. But if there is manhandling by the executives of the bank, then there will be a problem in the processes that are taking place at their site. So, how to ensure the serializability of the concurrent transaction? This one. How to resolve the conflicts? After reading, then in TJ I am going to read. But here देखो, in TI and TJ, order does not matter. Okay, because I am not writing here anything. I am not writing here anything. Only read operation is there is no need to update. Only read operation is there is no need to update. So order does not matter. Either I could read this one first or I could read this one first. So order does not matter. But here I am reading here and I am writing here. I am writing here. So if I am supposed to write any operation, then order all obviously matter, because writing is the actual update where the updation is about to start. So next is this. Here you can see again write XA, read XA. So again order matter because there is write operation that is getting involved. And again in the fourth example, write is performed and again write is performed. So order properly matter. So a schedule is serializable with regard to the above procedures or conflicts, and it can be transformed into the serial schedule by the series of the swaps. So we are supposed to check for the serializability that they are based on the precedence. Precedence mean to say we can draw the graphs. We can draw the directed graph. Directed graph mean to say from TI to TJ there will be a directed arrow, and there could be only one directed arrow, because if it is forming again a cycle, then it is of no use. It means this transaction cannot proceed. So it describes the dependencies among the concurrent transaction. That is, if the graph has no cycle, then the transactions are serializable. Otherwise, if the graph has cycle, then it is not serializable. You can see it here. Characterizing the schedules based on the serializability. You can just read the formulas that will be used. That is, look at only read item and write item operation, and then is to construct a precedence graph. Serialization graph, that is a graph with directed edges. How it could be created, I am showing you in the next slide. An edge is created from TI to TJ if one of the operation in TIJ appears before a conflicting operation TJ. Then the schedule is serializable if and only if the precedence of graph has no cycle. So you can see it here. It is clearly seen from the four pictures that graph C is not serializable because it is forming a cycle. Because it is forming a cycle. So figure, this one is showing constructing the precedence of graph for schedule A and D from to test for conflict serializability. First is precedence graph for serial schedule A. A is having two transactions that are taking place T1 to T2 via X object. Next is T1, T2 to T1 via X object in B. That is also a serial schedule. Next is 3 precedence graph for the schedule C. That is not serializable because it is forming a graph. T1 to T2 and T2 to T1. That is a vice versa operation. Next is D precedence graph for the schedule D, serializable, equivalent to the schedule A, because T1 to T2 there is the operation that is the uh, concerned with the object X. Next is concurrency control lock-based protocols. There are various rules that are there in order to perform the lock on various transactions. Just have a look. And before proceeding for the same, I am giving you the time for 2 to 3 minutes so that you can read all the slides. If you are having any problem, you can ask me. Now the my question is why we use locking? Why we use locking? Why there is the use? Why there is the need to use locks in the performing the transaction so that we can remove the problems in the concurrent transaction. That is why we are using locking. So you can see that there are two types of locks. First is shared lock and second is exclusive lock. You can see it here. I am sharing you the slide. Shared lock, exclusive lock. Shared lock is concerned with the read lock. You can only read. No other transaction can perform the right operations. They can only read. But exclusive lock, they can read, they can write, but no other transaction can read and write. Only the transaction that are being involved in the system can read and write, but no outer transaction can perform read and write operation. And last is unlock, just to unlock the lock, to release the lock from a particular object. So next is lock compatibility matrix. So requested lock is shared lock and exclusive lock. Next is existing lock. Existing locks are of two types, S lock and X lock, that is exclusive lock. So what is the matrix that is being representing here? S lock and S lock, okay. S lock and X lock. All other combinations are answering in no, and only sloc to sloc is answering in only okay. So what does that means? It means shared mean to say only read not update, and exclusive lock, that is read but update is also available. On read and update is also available. So while reading only, reading, no other operation is performed. To remove locking, first technique is 2PL, that is two phase locking protocol, that is lock and unlock. So 2PL is of two types, shrinking and upgrading, that is downgrading and expanding. Downgrading mean to say shrinking, and upgrading mean to say it is growing or expanding. Now what is shrinking actually means? That is whole class is represented by one student. So that is shrinking. Growing, one student give his speech after the another student, and so on. So it is growing. So there will be 44 speeches in the class, but only one student was representing the whole class. That was shrinking. So similarly, preventing the lost update problem that we faced in the uh, previous example that I have shared with you in the previous slide. So there will be the timing limit that will be there, T1, T2, T3, T4, how many transactions will be there, and two transactions are taking place, T1 and T2. There will be the number of steps that will be there on the left hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. So begin with the transaction, there will be write lock. Next is begin transaction, there will be the write lock. Next, we are supposed to perform the read operations, write operations. We are supposed to perform the operations on the balance. Balance is equal to balance of x plus 100. So in this way, we can perform the transactions by perform the locking criteria. So after unlock read operations of the second is performed, that is T1 before beginning the transaction, it should lock it, and after complete, unlock it. Mean to say, there will be locking that will be taking place on the transactions. If T1 is supposed to start a transaction, it is locking all its operations, and after it has successfully submitted the transaction results, it is supposed to unlock the same, so that now anybody can have a access to that particular transaction, because their processes are not being interrupted in between. So this is the use of the locking system in concurrency control medium in the DBMS. So coming to the locks, there are various types of locks, that is S lock, X lock. So shared lock, we should allow all the transactions to access the item A if they all access the item A for reading purpose only. So read item is also called shared lock, and because all other transactions are allowed to read the item. So consider, for example, a banking system example. Consider the example of the banking system. Let's say A and B are two adjacent two accounts assessed by the transaction T1 and T2. Transaction T1 transfer rupees 50 from account B to account A and is defined as T1, then lock on XB, because from B it is the amount is getting transferred. So then read B, B is equal to B minus 50, then write B, then unlock B, then lock A, read A is equal to A plus 50, write A, unlock A. So in this way, successful completion of the transaction is taking place. Next is exclusive. What is exclusive? A write lock item is called exclusive lock item because a single transaction holds lock on the item. In this, both read and write, that is update operations, are allowed. So there are certain rules that are associated with X lock, that is exclusive lock. First is a transaction must issues the read lock before any read item operation is performed in the T. Next is a transaction must issues the write lock before any write item operation is performed in the T. Next is a transaction must issues unlock item after all the operations are completed in the T. Next is a transaction will not issue a read lock operation if it already hold a read or read lock on the item. Next is a transaction will not issue a write lock operation if it already hold read or write lock on the item. So a transaction will not issue an unlock operation if it already hold read write lock on the item. So there are lockings that are of the two types, that is growing and shrinking phase, that are being associated with the lock. So this was all about the locking criteria. Two-phase locking protocol, that is growing and shrinking, as I told you earlier. So what is the summary of my today's lecture? Transaction concepts, properties of the transaction, serializability of the transaction, testing of the serializability, two-phase commit protocol. Two-phase commit protocol. So what I have discussed so far today is transaction management in whole. Transaction management, ACID properties, serializability, concurrent transactions, locking procedures, then testing of the serializability, then two-phase locking, that is growing and shrinking. So this was all about my today's lecture. If you are having any query regarding the same, you can ask me. This is the reference link that is given for you. Next is MCQ that are associated with the today's lecture. First one is collection of operations that form a single logical unit of work that are called views, networks, units, or transactions. Second, you are supposed to tick any one answer. Next is the all or none property is commonly referred to as isolation, durability, atomicity, or none. Next is which of the following is the property of the transactions? Atomicity, durability, isolation, all of the mentioned. Next is execution of the transaction is in isolation, preserve the dash of the database. Atomicity, consistency, durability, all of the mentioned. Next is which of the following is not a property of the transaction? Atomicity, simplicity, isolation, durability. Next is which of the following system is responsible for ensuring durability? Recovery system, atomic system, concurrency control system, compiler system. Next is which of the following system is responsible for ensuring isolation? That is recovery system, atomic system, concurrency control system, compiler system. Next is the state true or false. Information residing in the volatile storage does not usually survive system crashes if it is either true or this statement is false. Next is a transaction that has not been completed successfully is called compensating transaction, aborted transaction, active transaction, partially committed transaction. Four types of transaction that I have covered in the acid part is concerned with this question: active, partially committed, fully committed, abort, then successful completion of the transaction. So you are supposed to answer this question on the basis of the types of the transaction. Next is which of the following is not a transaction state? Active, partially committed, failed, compensated. So these are all the questions that are related to the today's lecture. I am giving you the time of 10 minutes to do the quiz. Just do this quiz quickly and submit me the answers. So this is the end of the today's class. Have a nice day.